You're listening to Life Check Yourself with life coach, transformational leader, and dating and relationship badass, Marni Batista. Every week, you'll get the raw truth from top experts and real people on the important life and love issues you want to know about. So, if you're ready to life check yourself in your relationships, your career, and the areas of your life that matter most to you, and you're not afraid to be called out on your, stuff, then you're ready for what's next.
Life Check Yourself with Chris Gillis. How you know you're with a keeper.
Welcome back. We're both not wearing our glasses. If you're watching on YouTube, can we see?
Is this thing on? Is this on?
Is this on? We're here to talk about the grand finale of Love Island. I have some really great news for you, Chris, besides the fact that Love Island is over, which I know makes you really happy. One of our clients, we were talking about our podcast, and I said, do you watch Love Island? And she was like, no, I don't watch it, but I really love the podcast that you and Chris do about Love Island. Like, it doesn't matter that I'm not watching it. I think they're really good. So yay. So today we are going to talk about the end. I love the end of Love Island. I think some people think it's boring, because they just sort of get rid of the riffraff and those kinds of things. But the one thing that I want to talk about first is, and I think this is I don't know if this happens in grown-up land. You'll have to tell me because you're more in touch with it than I am. But I know in the millennial younger world, there is this thing of the order of operations. And it's like, we're exclusive, then we're dating. This is how they say it. Dating is like in a relationship. I learned this from my kids. First, you're exclusive, then you're dating. That means you're in a relationship, and then you're saying, I love you and all that kind of stuff. And so in Love Island, they do this thing where the order is we're exclusive, then we're boyfriend and girlfriend, and then we're whatever. And I don't understand the difference between exclusive and boyfriend and girlfriend.
And Marn, this was being a guy, aka a dum-dum who's not good with expressing himself. What's weird to me is the title for, this is interesting actually. Maybe we never discussed this. I think, and if you're gals, ask your guys this if you're at home. But I think generally in the manosphere, it's hard. We're men. It's easier for us to accept a title than it is, aka being your girlfriend, than it is for us to say, I love you, or or as they say, the other watered down 99-cent version of that is I'm falling in love with you. I don't think we've ever chatted about that, but yeah, that seems to be a massive, I never noticed, on the show, or before the show. Isn't it weird? Does it matter to you? But yeah, because the order seems all wonky on the show where they do words, love words, like I'm falling in love, blah, blah, and then they don't get to the do you want to be in a relationship, or they say committed, and then exclusive, exclusive.
Then boyfriend and girlfriend. Yeah,
I would never say I'm someone's boyfriend before, or I would never say I love you before realizing, yes, dude, we're fucking obviously ding dong, we're committed. I wouldn't say
exactly. Well, it is weird. Well, with Shaq and Tanya, they said I love you 3 weeks in, which was really, really odd. But here's what's interesting is I noticed that some of them are good at this and some are not. They say, I need to find out where your head's at, or I need to talk about, how we feel or how she feels. Right. And a lot of the time, not all of them use feeling words, right? It takes a lot to get to, I love ya, or I'm falling for ya, and I think that, I think the thing I want people to hear is this, because I keep hearing this out in the world, is that the way we want it to be is before we open up, before we let you see who we are, before we start to trust you, before we open up and are not guarded, we want a guy to basically assure us that it's safe, meaning I really like you. I see a future with you. I'm falling for you. I'm whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
And I think that is a big, big problem, because for many of our listeners, the guy will never get there if they're so guarded
Yeah.
That, and we saw that in early days, right? With people like Tanyel, right?
Mhm.
Or, you know, they're just
Mhm.
like a little guarded. So I think the thing is like, for most people, this idea of like, are we falling for each other? It usually happens after you're like kind of exclusive, or you're committed, or you're not dating other people. I don't think you fall in love with someone and then decide to be exclusive. I think you have to like really devote time to getting to know somebody, and then you fall for them.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
don't know. Like, to me, that seems the way it is. Like, I'm dating a lot of people. I really like you. I want to explore this further. I stop dating other people. I focus on you. Wow, I'm really falling for you. Like, we stay committed. I don't know. Is that unrealistic?
That's the way you and I are closer, much closer, in dating ages and styles and manners in these than these young Gen Zers are. But I no wonder, is it like, again, I just kind of showed my kimono and said, yeah, saying words for open are scary for most. I mean, all guys I know, but it is weird that they almost on the show, they all waited, guys, and we didn't really say this is the finale. Yay, we're done. It's the last one that we're going to wrap it up. They choose their mates and their partners. And what we're talking about this is because in the very end, their big reveal is, will you be my boyfriend, girlfriend?
Yeah, but also in their little speeches, some of them said, I love you for the first time. Yeah.
But would you even say I love you before being, but so maybe this is just again this, I'll just talk from the guys thing, but it is scary to go there, and it's almost like going to the cave and being like, hey, are there any lions in there? You're gonna eat me? Oh, are you hooking up with another lion, or oh, just for me? Okay, we want to poke around and make sure it's safe.
Yeah, I think so I think the takeaway is that for each one of us, we have to have, I call it on our campus, like your contract, you know, like what makes you feel emotionally safe, whether it's sex or saying I love you or whatever it is. However, I think that what I want people to know is that you're going to have to show your cards a little bit at the beginning, right? And you're going to have to say things like, and I mean like the first 3 or 5 dates, like, I really like spending time with you. I'm really enjoying this. I really like where this is going. I like to spend more time together. You know, like starting to talk about like real things and being vulnerable and creating space for someone to say, you know, I'd like to be exclusive.
Yeah.
Or I'd like for you to be my girlfriend. And I think it is, I get the nuance. Like I understand the nuance of like, I'd like to be exclusive, meaning like we're taking our profiles down, like we're not going to date other people.
Sure.
And that doesn't mean like you're my girlfriend yet, maybe, but maybe it means that we're just really focusing on each other and creating space. And the other thing I just want to say, because this comes up all the time with our clients, is, you know, I'm in love with him, but he hasn't said it. Do I have to wait? And what I loved was that Jessie told Will, I'm really falling for you, and asked Will to be her boyfriend first. And I thought that was like totally fine and cute. Like, do you think that that was like a mistake? Do you think that women shouldn't, you know, say I love you first? Like, what's your take on that?
No. I will definitely, the I love you first is, I mean, if I think it's a gift if you have a guy who will say he loves you first, or it could be a red flag too.
Exactly.
If it's like Shaq style, I'm like,
yeah, exactly.
You don't even know my last name, bro.
Right.
Slow down. But no, definitely I'm just thinking about, you know, all these cute little commercials where, you know, little kids like, will you be my boyfriend, you be my girlfriend, and you know, like they're not snogging and talking about, you know, love and all that stuff. They just, I guess maybe the term again, it just means so much more. The title, it's just maybe they take it so incredibly serious. But no, I think it's great that she asked. That she asked him if he wanted to be. She didn't trap him. She wasn't. I didn't feel like she was forcing him into it. It was definitely wasn't early days anymore, as they say on the show. It was time.
Time.
Surprised. I'm weirdly surprised that he was that into her and waited that long. I think it was a one-way relationship.
Yeah, maybe he wanted to make it special. You know, I don't know. The other thing is that just in context of the show, if you were watching the show, is Will had never had a girlfriend before, and Ron had never had a girlfriend before. And so I think they were taking it like very seriously, and it was just kind of cute. And I think that's why it was like, oh, you're my soulmate forever. Well, I just got done watching Perfect Match, which we'll talk about next week. But
by the way,
it's like
sidebar.
Yeah.
Continuing on with our theme of why I'm just scratching my head and so perplexed. You're right. So many I have never met so many dudes who haven't had girlfriends before, got like eligible, dimed, studs.
Yeah.
What in the world is this?
I don't know.
Heck?
I don't really know. And maybe that's like that generation.
Yeah.
But I don't know. But yeah, because Jeremy was like, I had a girlfriend when I was 12. Like, I mean, obviously I wasn't shagging her or anything. And I remember when Kent Roeder asked me to be his girlfriend when I was like, 10 years old, right? Like it was just boys, it was cute, right?
I was a kindergartner, and there's a girl, Rachel Wallace's older sister, who was like a third grader, like ran up on and forced me to date her sister, and like made me like walk, like I don't know, hold her hand or something. I was like, and I got bullied into my first. Oh, maybe that's why I was a commitment.
Maybe so. And it's funny. I was talking to a family member, and she has kids who are like in their teens, and she's like, "Oh, in our family, we don't let our kids have a boyfriend or girlfriend until they're like 14 or something like that." And I was like, they're probably doing it behind your back.
Bro, and it doesn't mean they're doing anything. Maybe they're just saying, I like.
She's like, I don't think they're emotionally ready to. I was like, oh my God. Okay. But anyway, whatevs. Everyone does their own thing. I just think it's happening behind your back, because when you're a hormonal kid and you have like affections for someone of the same sex, opposite sex, whatever it is, right? You're developing and going through puberty. So, I don't even know why we're talking about this, but I find it very interesting. Okay. So we've got this whole, like, at the end, we've got, Rosie and Casey, they're booted. We've got, because they're, they haven't been together long enough. We've got Jesse and Will, but they get booted.
That was weird. That was bullshit.
I know. Well, they have to get rid of them. And then we're left with like these three couples, and Four, yes. And, and then we choose, the public votes on who is left. But before they do that, they have this, I love this episode. They do it every season. It's called Babies. Well, it's not called Babies, but they bring in these like animatronic babies, and they have to take care of them for an entire day. And I love Babies because I just think it's really, really cute. But I was just wondering, like, when you're dating, like really seeing how someone is in an environment, right? Is that an important step? Like whether you're going to have kids or you are going to have grandkids, or you like to travel, or you like to, whatever it is, you want to see how this person you're dating interacts in like a real life situation, or a simulated of that situation.
Yeah.
Would you, and here's the thing, because some of them did better than others, at this experience. If you were dating and, like, let's say you took your guy you're dating to a family picnic, or you went, on an adventurous hike or whatever it is, and they didn't do great.
Yeah.
Would you like boot them? Or would you say, this was just one experience, I don't want to make up a story? Because in this case, they're all like, oh, that's cute, and one day we'll have kids, and, or Lana wasn't into it at all, and Ron seemed to not care, which was odd because he was so into it. But anyway, what do you think about that? Do you think that you need to have these experiences? And if someone doesn't live up to your expectations, is that a reason to boot them?
Sure. I love that. Great question. So yeah, like our little, in the show, guys and gals, it's a test drive, of how let's how these guys talk about something interesting, and kick the can down the road, and so they can predict a little bit about what it's like going to be like outside the villa. And and that is, again, these guys talk such big games, and then we're all, when the rubber hits the road, what's really going to happen? And I do think, Marni, it's a fantastic question, because we all have our our babies, meaning aka things that we have been maybe ingrained, or that our values that are very important, non-negotiables. Like, this is happening. I am traveling the world. I am starting a company. I am gonna do this. This is where I'm going. Who's coming with me? Jerry Maguire style moment. And I do think it is I do think it is important to take note. Personally, if it was early days, and if I do feel like I set up, which is kind of a bullshit thing to do, but I did set up the experiment, we'll call it. Maybe I love the outdoors, and I took her to some baby hike like Runyon Canyon, and she was bitching the whole time or whatever. I would not continue to force that. For, I'd find out, make sure, okay, you don't have a corn or something on your foot that prevents you from walking. Like, why are you bitching? But I would ask those questions, and then gently kind of catch and release, and then keep on dating to find somebody else in my sphere of interest on there. So yeah, I think
it would be good to do that and then ask some questions, right? Because, and here's why I think this is important, because people put a bunch of shit, especially when you're dating online. And my favorite story is one of my guys, Michael Lushing, who I coached and was on the man panel, and he's in a relationship. And when we were, when I was coaching him many years ago, he, went on a date with this woman, and basically all the women are like, I love walks on the beach, and I love to dress up, and all this kind of stuff. And so he would always meet them at this one place by Venice Beach, by the boardwalk, so that he could actually go for a walk. And he'd say, like, let's meet for coffee at da-da-da, and then we can go for a walk after. And I just thought this was brilliant, because these women would show up, and some of them totally were not dressed to go for a walk. Or they kind of were, but they weren't really. And they were walking, and they were like, oh, it's so windy, or I don't like the sand, or like, right. And so he was like, they don't really like to walk on the beach. They don't really, that's just all a thing. And then another time, one of them said that they really liked this one diner in LA called the Apple Pan. And it was one of his favorites. And so he was asking her, like, what kind, asking her questions about the Apple Pan. And she was like, to be honest, I just put the Apple Pan because my friend told me that would make me look kind of low maintenance.
Yeah. Wow. I love it.
And she didn't even, her friend helped her write the profile. And so I think, like, meeting someone, like, if you like animals, go meet at the dog park, right? If you like to go to the beach, then have a coffee, like walking along the beach. If if you like to sail, go walk on the marina, like, and see if they're really are they really interested? Have those conversations. And then if they're not showing up the way you wanted, and then I would just be like, wow, like, my vision is to, like, sail, or to have an active sailing life, or to buy a boat one day, or to retire and sail. What about you? And they're like, no, I would never, and then you're like, cool, you're out. Right. So I think it is a good idea to do test run dates, travel, weekends, things like that. And then if it doesn't go right, then have follow-up questions. And then if it's still not meeting your needs, then you're out.
I love that. And also another side note, and then one other kind of funky story, Michael style. That's such a cool story. Guys, we all read over, when we want a job, we all read over the job requirements and preferences, and we all bullshit and kind of be like, oh yeah, I love walking on the beach, and these things. And absolutely, maybe we've walked once and we've seen a beach, we watched the movie The Beach, DiCaprio, and we jam it together and we say, okay, I'm in there. And again, hopefully he wasn't angry, and his takeaway, I know Michael, I bet he wasn't salty and like, well, screw this, Marni, I'm giving up, you're full of shit. He's probably like, okay, that's human nature. But I love that he created like a bullshit litmus test to see if it is,
I know, right?
If it's really true or not, and to test in a way, by the way, cool, he still wins, he still gets to walk on the beach and have a nice glass of wine, and able to keep what he wants. Also, I have a friend, I just hung out with him. He is a high value man, in that he was a Harvard graduate. He owns like 3 companies worth millions and millions of dollars, stud, right? And hard time though. They're also very picky. And girls would hack his his things that he likes to do about himself, and they would match that in there. So he's with this gal now. She's amazing. Emily and I love her. And she revealed, she gave me a ride back on St. Patrick's Day. I was in their car, and she said, I'm at their first date. He took her, because she said she likes the outdoors. He took her on it was just under 12-mile hike, their first date. And then and it was like windy and cold, and he was just testing her, boom, boom, seeing how she reacts out. Because this guy never says shit if he had a mouthful of it. He is tough. He goes on. He wants a partner who will always make the most of the ride and the bumps, and have some know that there's a cool story. And then immediately when he's done, guess what he did? He had her meet his fucking family. No time to change, shower, nothing. I think maybe he was allowed to pull off the muddy hiking boots and then put on a pair of tennis shoes, and you're immediately being interviewed now by it's like Navy SEALs training, where they're like bugs, where they exhaust you and then they give you math problems. You're like, oh God. So until you find, you have to show who you really are. Maybe that's why this guy's a Harvard grad, but I love that he took that Michael's story you just said and took it to an extreme.
Yeah. And I think that's a really good idea. And also just generally why like going out for dinner isn't a great first date. Okay, let's talk about, okay, so we talked about babies. I want to talk about this idea of, forgiveness, basically, right? Because there's a lot of, we have to forgive Tanya for Casa Amor. And speaking of meeting the families, they have a little section of the show where their families come for looks like 5 minutes. I'm sure it's longer. And they kind of have to defend, why, I'm still with this person, and the parents have to, meet them. And I just wonder, because I also think this happens in real life, is there is a mistake that is made. We do have to at some point forgive.
Yeah.
Right. And I think what can happen is we start to look for evidence why this person isn't right for us, or we can sabotage by bringing that thing up over and over and over again. Right. What's the fine line, do you think, between really letting someone know that what happened hurt you, and then also being able to put it really truly in the past and move on, Yeah. So what do you think about that?
I think, again, you don't need to watch this show to really get the meat on the bone on this. And what we're talking about is, there's a gal, she does her guy dirty, hooks up with another guy when they're on break. And there's a different guy. He does the same thing to his gal. And the way that they reconcile their missteps is so incredibly different that shockingly one couple almost wins it all, and the other couple, I think they should have been voted out way earlier. And are you
talking about Shaq and Tanya?
I am. Yeah, I'm talking about Shaq and Tanya.
Yeah, I didn't really like them the whole time. I don't know why.
We all really like Shaq, though. That's the crazy thing, right?
Yes, I love Shaq.
Really like Shaq, and I think he's going to be in for a world of hurt. And you could see his family, they're doing their best. They're like, girl, you did my brother dirty, and we're going to, we'll talk about this sort of later. Meaning that the fact that they still, the family and everyone is like, hey, no, we still need to talk about it, means that what we're talking about here is how to not give a bullshit apology and how to make it so you can just be done, because we don't want to keep rubbing your face in it. Right. He goes, you know what? I got the closure. I think America, the public, we did not get the closure. But that is not how you apologize. That is still ouch. And that is still, she's like bullshitting about, how it was best for their relationship and this and that, but which it can be a missteps. And when you're going through a fire, it can be very beneficial. But the way that I feel like she's, of being evasive and really not.
She never took responsibility for it.
Versus the way talk about what you think, how he apologized. Ron apologized,
or even Will.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Will's immediately I screwed up. I feel so bad. I'm so sorry. I screwed up our relationship. You're the most important thing. how can I win you back? Not like, wait, don't you understand? Like, this was Casa Amor, and you need to forgive me. Like, like, get over it. Like, it was just a kiss, right? And that's sort of how Tanya acted, and I think that, and this is the thing for me, like in my relationship, like, which I'm always wanting to, what's the right word, make better, right? Is I think it's normal what Tanya did. I think most people react that way, right? Like, this happened and it, I didn't like it. And what does the other person do? They get defensive. They're like, but wait, the reason I did that was da 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 da. And like, I want you to understand. And again, that it's coming from a place of, guilt, shame, whatever it is, right? Like, I am trying to like, explain myself. And I think that is like an empathy blocker, right? It doesn't really create that healing. And so what we need to learn how to do is apologize, like by taking responsibility. Even, and this is important, even if you believe what you did was right, or it was an honest mistake,
right,
is saying, what I did was hurt you, and I could have thought about that differently, and the impact it made wasn't my intention, and I screwed up. And also, though, it was X, Y, and Z, but like, I did do that, and I'm really sorry I hurt you.
Yeah.
And I think for women, like, I don't know how men are in those situations, but for me, I'm like, just take responsibility and just say, I'm sorry, because I do also understand your point of view.
Yeah. That's
right.
That's it. It was the differences between the two gentlemen's apologies for them doing, the same, more or less the same misstep that Tanya did. Is that I think that, there was so much empathy. They were truly, again, like Mike, you pointed out, Marni, it's the actions. Yes, we're going to date, other people before we're exclusive and this and that. But what Shaq, like we pointed out, and one thing I think you love about him is he is such a sensitive person. She reaps the benefits of his sensitivity without the appreciation and driving with the tenderness that having such a, having such a powerful a man who's able to handle those curves and that slight precision, and she sloppily with it and kind of slaps it around and then quickly gets defensive about it. And I think that's what I found so off-putting, and that's the genuine difference. I read the internet. Someone says Tanya seems like the girl who's not going to let a boyfriend get in the way of finding a husband. And I mean, she may be dating Shaq, and if something's going wrong, he's being, he's
placeholder.
He's having a tough day, she'll switch over in her head and it's like, oh, well, I had to do what I had to do, sort of thing. And that's scary to hit your wagon to in a long-term relationship. Whereas the way that you saw Will and Ron profusely, their apologies.
They were on job.
Exactly. They're on job, but their apologies, they weren't focused on the details of them, grafting and putting their tongues down someone. So what they were focused on, their apologies were, is like, I care about you. I hurt my partner. It's right. Who gives a shit about how I would have, if roles were switched, but regardless, I hurt my partner who I care about so much. And I'm deeply sorry that I did that, and I will learn from that now, from that misstep, and I will make sure that does not happen again. And we never got that from Tanya.
No, and I don't know if they'll be in for the long term. We'll have to
happen again. No, it's gonna happen again.
I think it'll definitely happen again, because and this is another important thing in the dating process, right? Like, people will show you who they are, right? And so early on in like the first few weeks, even right before Casa Amor, which is why she like rationalized that she could hang out with Martin, was like, I think they had a conversation or a difficulty about an experience, and Shaq felt like he was being talked down to, and anyway, they never resolved it, and she was like, oh, he gave me the ick, and then they never really dealt with it. And so again, it's like, she turned it around in that situation and made him wrong for sure. So people will show you who they are. Listen. Okay. Last thing before we go. And that is, so in the end, spoiler alert, Kai and Sanam win, and the public votes for them. And I want to know what they saw, like, because when I have clients come up with their non-negotiables, their deal breakers, one of the parts of that very, complex process is to find a couple that you, or couples that you admire, and what parts of that you admire that you would like to have in your own relationship. And so when the public is voting to choose the winner, they obviously are kind of doing that on some level. Like, I really like the way these two are. I believe in them. What is it about? Because we've probably talked about Kai and Sanam 0 times on this show.
Yeah. Except to say how much, we can't believe how wrong we were, how much we couldn't stand them, or how boring they were. And
right. How boring, right? How there's no drama, Kai doesn't get involved in anything. Why do we like them? Why did they get picked? Why did they win? What is it? What are the characteristics of the both of them that make them really high value, high quality people to date? Whether or not they stay together, who knows?
I actually do. That's weird. I never say that. I actually do care. I'm going to be upset if
they break up. I know, I like them.
That's what
I wanted them to win. I wanted them to win.
Same. And I think that what they represent is the symbolism of pureness, that that it's still possible and that people are still good to the core. And for example, they're both empathetic, and they're altruistic, and they're teachers, underpaid, hardworking teachers that care. They're so non-selfish. They're like the opposite of Olivia and Tanyel, on their caring. He's still a lad's lad, in that he will he's careful with his emotions, but she's so on job herself, and that he'll pop his little mouse head out of there, and she'd be like, come here. And it's cute in the way that, and then he comes out and then he plays and he goes back in there, and they just have that. Basically, if Kai and Sanam can't work, then we're all fucked. I think because that's why we had to choose them.
And I think it's because they have integrity. And here's the thing that I really liked about Kai. From the very beginning, he was certain, right? Whether he was dating Tanyel and he was like, we're not a match. And then he was like, oh, Olivia, you and I are friends. Maybe we could be somebody, something. They date. He goes to Casa. He meets Sanam. He's very clear. And he never engages in drama.
Yes.
Olivia set him up so many times, right? She poked the bear and he refused to engage with her. And he was not addicted to drama, and he was really just there for his partner. And he put her as a priority, and he just really showed up for her. And if the theme of the show is people will show you who they are over 8 weeks, right? And do they have repair conversations, and then do their actions actually reflect that intention to do better, or learn, or grow?
Yeah.
I think that we just saw Kai from being consistent, being honest, not hurting anyone, not, saying the same thing to every single girl. He was just a good guy.
And from a dating coach perspective, Marni, don't you think that what so makes you just want to cheer is that despite having, because this is the first time I believe a bombshell couple has ever gone on to win it. What's so great about him, it's like a batter in a batter's box. We got all these, Olivia throwing these crazy curveballs. It looked good. And he got tricked once or twice, and then he stopped out and he didn't swing anymore. And they boom, boom, boom. And then all he needed was that one pitch. He was so clear on what he wanted in a woman, and it didn't take him long. And that's why I say bombshell, guys. That means he had just a split second to decide, and he knew it, and he got it, and he didn't let her go. And he was like, yep, that's it. And he was that man. He opened up that space very quickly to test her out. And sure enough, she opened up her kimono. They were the same person. And they were just so beautifully clear and intentional. No games, no this, no that. And they just got right into there. And I think the public was like, yes, that's it.
That's what we like. Now I have to go to google.com. I am really wondering how old Kai is. Because
he seems like an old soul, or what?
Well, I just wonder if he is that way, because he is just a little more grounded and a little more mature. Oh, he's 24. He's 24. Good for him. So
That's amazing.
Yeah. And I just think, and also he just shows up in integrity. And I think that the last thing I want to say is, do you see, if you watch the show, how easy it is with the right guy?
Yeah.
Right. There weren't the games. It wasn't like, do you like other people? Do you need to test all this stuff? And I know that the Islanders were like, oh, Kai and Sanam didn't have any tests. We don't know if their relationship is solid. And it's like,
you can just tell by her, the way she is, the way you meet her everything is so fucking consistent.
Exactly.
From her giant doe eyes to the way she shuts up and listens and is truly present when they're there. And no, you can tell that they're
exactly. And so when you're dating someone who's like, and there's the Shaq and Tanya, and there's like the drama, or even a little of the Ron and Lana at the beginning, or, you know, whatever it is, you understand, like, you don't have to have it be that way. There's a guy out there, there's a person out there that is like, you are my person. And Claudia said, you know, I don't want to be anyone's option, right? Then don't be an option. Like, hold yourself in high regard, like have standards. And if someone is like, you know, not being direct, not being clear, not swimming upstream to like show you that he's interested, then like, peace out.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So that's my story for today. So I was super happy with the winner chicken dinner. I also just have to say, even so, so in the end, to wrap up about Love Island, of all the crappy reality dating shows you and I have watched, I think that Love Island, because I did a little research of how many couples are still together from Love Island, a ton.
Really?
A ton. Like pretty much almost all of the ones from the last season, the Davide and Ekansu season, they're still all together. Andrew and Tasha. Yeah. So there is something about the 8 weeks without your phone, really getting to know someone, dating other people, really being present, really being focused, having so much time that you really talk about what it is that you want, and really seeing who you are, seeing how they are with friends, seeing how they are in challenges. There's just something about this formula that even though they might come on for clout or they might not expect it, it's creating long-term relationships with people in their, you know, early to mid 20s. So we'll have to see what happens like 10 years from now. But there's a lot of success stories.
If I'm still watching this show 10 years from now, put a bullet in my head. Please don't let Marni continue to do this to me.
Oh, you will be watching. You will be watching. I'm in, baby.
Season 1048.
Oh my God. It's my favorite.
I love that you love it though. I love, and I love seeing you so cheeky and happy. And
I know. So that being said, ladies, we are going next week. And also, by the way, I feel so happy about my Bachelor cleanse. I have no FOMO.
Oh.
Don't
I had
miss
to tune in last night. I had to tune in last night. Something so funny happened, just real quick. He went on the show. It's like, Jesse, I'm not having sex with any of these girls because of these XY reasons. And he lasted like 5 minutes later. It's like, oh no, what have I done? And he was just to watch him fumble was hilarious.
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, so I haven't watched any and I feel okay about it. And so next week we're going to talk about this show that Chris coerced me to watch. Like I coerced him to watch Love Island, but I actually enjoyed it. And so we're going to talk next week about The Perfect Match, which I believe is on Netflix, right? So if you want to start that, it's what Chris likes about it is there's 12 episodes. You're in, you're out. It's very bingeable. So if it's raining, snowing, whatever, catch up. We'll be talking about The Perfect Match next week. And in the meantime, so much to learn from our little Islanders in South Africa. They'll be back in June. So we'll pick that up. If you have any other shows you want us to watch or comment on, DM us on Instagram. It's at Dating with Dignity, or send us an email, support@datingwithdignity.com, or leave a comment on YouTube. Subscribe, share with your friends, and you can follow me on TikTok, where Chris Gillis also has some videos. We did some videos together. So if you want to see him on TikTok, go to @MarniBatista. And if you want to find Chris, it's consultantchris.com. And life check yourself. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Hey, thanks for tuning into today's show. So if being in an intimate relationship in which you feel 100% seen, heard, and accepted by a high caliber man is a priority for you right now, and you're interested in seeing if you're a fit for working with me and my team at Dating with Dignity, here's what I want you to do. Just head over to DWD VIP, that's D as in dating, W, D as in dating, VIP.com, and book a call to speak with my team. We'll get on the phone with you for about 60 minutes, and you'll get crystal clear on what's stopping you from finding true love right now. We'll also take a look at what you want to create, what you want your whole life to look like when you're able to finally be fully expressed as a woman in a healthy relationship with an incredible guy. And if we can help you get from where you are right now to where you want to be, we will show you the fastest path possible that makes sense for you to do that. We help smart, successful women all over the world solve this one missing piece in their life so they can finally have it all. So to see if we can help you do the same thing, head over to DWDVIP.com. I'm Marni Batista, and let's talk soon.